Hello everybody, this is Racer998, also known as David, and as I'm sure you can all see from the upload date, today is January 1st, 2016. So first, I'm just going to get it out of the way. I'm just going to be basic and talk about my New Year's resolutions like everybody else. So I've got some pretty simple ones. It's just, to work out more and more consistently, get bigger, to study more and do better academically as far as college and advancement exam in the Navy goes. And then also to further my YouTube career and try to really get to that next level, that professionalism level. But something I really do want to throw right out there is the number 890. That's how many subscribers I'm at right now when I'm uploading this, which is the highest I've ever been, and it's crazy. I've gained about 30 in the last 3 days, and I don't know why, but I appreciate it. But I just figured I'd put some Warhawk content to this gameplay. Because what I'm going to be talking about a little bit today is kind of about that idea of like, well, how do I explain it? So I'm watching a show right now. A lot of you have probably heard of it. It's a kids show. It's called Legend of Korra. It's the sequel to the show called Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm sure almost all of you have heard of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and if you haven't, go watch it. It's a really good show. But I remember watching it on Nickelodeon as a little kid when it first came out. And I looked up some stuff and I was reading about it the other day, and it started back in 2005. So I had to think about that for a second, because that means that Avatar, I remember when Avatar started, when it was brand new. I remember watching the first episode, and that was 11 years ago. And now that I think about it, I'm 19 now, so pretty soon I'll be 20. And in the grand scheme of things, being 20, I mean, it's pretty young, you're not even drinking age yet. Everyone still says, oh, you're still a baby, still in college. But if you think about it, Avatar was 11 years ago. 11 years from now, I'll be 30. And by the time you hit 30, you're not old, but you're definitely not, you're slowly moving towards 40, which is getting away from your younger years. Once you hit 40, you can't deny it. You're not old, but you're definitely middle-aged. You're no longer considered young. So even though I just went 20 years in the future, it's like time. My parents always said to me when I was a kid, because I can never wait to get into middle school or get into high school or graduate high school, and it seemed like a school year took forever. But my parents were always like, you'll look back on it, and the older you get, the faster time goes. And I thought they were crazy for saying that, because I remember I would be waiting for like Christmas or for my birthday, and it would take forever. And looking back at it, I mean, like Avatar, for example, when I started watching that was 10 years ago. 10 years from now, I'll be 30. 10 years after that, I'll be 40. So it really is kind of crazy. Time does go by actually really fast. And take Warhawk, for example. I started playing it back in 2008. So 2 years from now, it'll be 10 years that I've been playing Warhawk. That's if Warhawk is still up and going in 2 years. But either way, it'll be my 10-year anniversary. RuneScape, which is pretty much the first video game I ever played, with exception to like Game Boy. I think I played Game Boy in like 2nd grade. I started RuneScape in like 4th or 5th grade. Then I got a PS3 in 6th grade. So RuneScape, I'm about 30 something days away from getting my 10-year cape, which is a cape that you get for having an account open for 10 years. And this is not my first account. I had an account before the one that I currently play on for like 30 days, maybe 2 months. So technically I've already hit my 10-year mark as far as how long I've been playing the game. So that's unreal to think about. I've been playing video games for a decade now, You see those dudes on YouTube that are like the Classic Game Room or whatever, who have been playing, video games since 92 or Mario or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I'm just a kid, I never played back when all that stuff was happening. But I mean, kids nowadays, I know a lot of kids that are like 14 and 15 that I play with on Grand Theft Auto pretty regularly. Shout out to you if you know who you are, Canadian. And and so those kids, like, they're 4 or 5 years younger than me, and so they never played COD 4, They never played Warhawk, because when those games came out, they were like 5. I was 11, so they were like 5 years old, so they weren't playing video games back then. So it's crazy to think about. I thought, everyone that plays Call of Duty has played since COD 4, but there's a lot of people I realize now that have started since Black Ops, started since Modern Warfare 3, started since Black Ops 2. And it's just crazy to think about. And I mean, the older I get, it'll just be more and more like that, 10 years from now, kids that are playing video games, middle schoolers, elementary schoolers, high schoolers, whatever, they won't know like what Modern Warfare 3 was, or Black Ops 2, or even Black Ops 3. That'll be ancient history, and it's crazy to think about that. So I know I've been kind of rambling on, but just that concept of like how fast time flies, and like how fast things become like not obsolete. I mean, like everyone that's around now will be around. That's like the teenager to now like young adult, like middle 20s age, I would say. Because the kids that were teenagers when I was first playing, they're all like 23, 24, 25 now. So 10 years from now, when the games that we all played were like, they're kind of back in the day, because they're not classics like Mario or Yoshi's Island or anything like that. They're not. I mean, Call of Duty's cool, and everyone gets it every year, but I mean, they're not really considered classics. I don't think people are gonna be looking back at like, I don't know, like World at War and be like, yeah, I still play it because it's a retro game, But we will all remember it, and it's just crazy to think about that. I don't know, just like that games, like as people get older, like the new generation of gamers, it's hard to think about that because I'm not that old, I'm not even 20 years old yet, but people that I play with almost every day on PlayStation, like they were just like, they were in kindergarten when I was in 6th grade, or they were in kindergarten when I was in 5th grade or whatever, when I was playing video games. They weren't even thinking about it yet, and it's just crazy to think about that. And I mean, in the future, I don't know, kids nowadays, they're starting to play games like earlier and earlier, because like I said, I never started playing until like 2nd or 3rd grade. I think I got a Game Boy, but I wasn't like all into video games. It wasn't until like 4th grade I discovered RuneScape, and a few years later I got my PS3. But kids nowadays, I mean, they're playing on their, parents are like handing their tablets over to their little 3-year-olds to play and stuff. And I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, because me personally, I love video games, and I could just play video games all day for weeks straight if I didn't have like a life and a job. But at the same time, I mean, I was like, when I was a kid, I was always going on camping trips and going hiking with my dad, and I was in the Boy Scouts. I think that's definitely a big part of it, is joining the Scouts really helped me. Otherwise, I would have been inside even more than I already was. But with the Scouts and cross country and soccer, doing those kind of things like made me get out of the house and go do stuff. And I wasn't this kid that was always inside, because I had like those activities I was involved with. And sometimes I wouldn't want to go to my Scout meetings or whatever. But looking back at it, and because I made Eagle Scout, it's done so much for me in my life. Like, I'm crazy thankful that my parents made me join when I was in 1st grade, because I thought it was lame back then, but I've made some really damn good memories and some really damn good friends through those programs. And also, like I said, it forced me to get out. I didn't become. I mean, I've played 1,600 hours on Warhawk, I think. So that's not counting all the other games I played, all the Call of Duties, Grand Theft Auto, Uncharted. I got probably 70 games in my drawer behind me right now, and I put countless hours into all of them too. So I mean, I can't deny there's been many an afternoon where I've been inside gaming, and then I game all night. I mean, it happens, and I played video games a lot over the years, maybe even more than I should have, but still, I still had my fair share of camping weekends, and I went out and longboarded with my friends, and we went to concerts, and we would drive downtown and just like have a good time, and I feel like kids in the future are going to be even more secluded and even more stuck indoors, which isn't necessarily like the worst thing that could possibly happen, because if you're playing video games with other people online, like Warhawk, for example, it's got a really awesome community. You make friends really well, and or at least I used to back in the day, and you just make I made friends for life on Warhawk. But you look at like Minecraft or Call of Duty or something nowadays, especially with the party chat system that they got on PS4, it's hard to meet new people, honestly, because on PS4, for example, when you're in party chat, you can hear your bros that you're playing with, and you guys can talk to each other. But in game chat, no one can hear you, and you can't hear them. You have to change your mic and go to game chat, what no one ever wants to do, and then you can hear people that are in there. But if you're in the game and you're trying to meet new people and talk to people, and everyone else is in their own little parties, it's kind of hard to make new friends. Whereas back in the day on PS3, you'd be talking with your friends in the game, and you would have no choice but to talk to or at least hear the other people or mute them. So, I mean, it was a lot easier to make friends and get conversations started, or at least trash talk like people used to do on Call of Duty. Now on COD, it's like people don't even trash talk that much anymore which is like half the fun, because everyone's in their party chats. So, I mean, party chat, I know it's not new to Xbox users, but for PlayStation, I've never had an Xbox. It's a whole new thing to me, and it's amazing, but I think it kind of sucks in that way too. And I feel bad because there's all these little kids, like, for example, when I'm playing Minecraft, it's tons of little kids, you know, but it's like they all, I mean, they're kind of annoying, and it gets annoying because they're all squeakers, but I gotta remember that's how I was 11 years old when I first started playing PlayStation, and I remember how much it hurt when, you know, people on Warhawk would tell me to shut up or would mute me or wouldn't want to talk to me because I was such a little kid, and I didn't understand why. Now I understand why. I mean, little kids can be kind of annoying, but at the same time, you know, you gotta remember, like, they're just kids, you know, they just wanna play and have a good time. But it kind of sucks on games like Minecraft where there's tons of little kids, and they always want to make friends and like add you and join your games and stuff, but it's like you're always in party chat with the other friends, so you never even get to talk to them. So I don't know. Hey, but I'm getting way off topic, but this video is just kind of some ideas that are popping into my head, so I just want to rant about them a little bit. But yeah, Happy New Year, guys. It's 2016. It's kind of crazy to think about, and by the time I buy a new car, it'll probably be like 2020. So I don't even know. Cars probably won't even run on gasoline anymore, but yeah, I'm going to be making more videos soon. I just want to throw this commentary up. I know it's really long if you hung with me the whole time. I appreciate you staying around and listening to my thoughts. But I'll have more videos for you guys soon, probably about one or two to three videos a week. At least one video a week for sure. But I will catch you guys in the next video. All right.